Sonsuza kadar adalet, sonsuza kadar hürriyet.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My dear brothers, sisters, respected elders, friends and family, wherever you are, I hope you're all well. First and foremost, if you haven't watched the Turkish series Ertugrul or Osman, I have to tell you, you might want to go and watch it and come back because there is going to be a lot of spoilers in this video podcast, inshallah. So, but if you want to stay with us, then do stay. So I have here with me my humble Bay brother, Brother Muzzy. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, akhi? Good?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So, guys, I have to say, Brother Muzzy, he's been a big inspiration to me when it comes to Ertugrul and the whole history about Ottomans. He's told me a lot about the history, and this is the reason why I have this brother with me on this podcast. So, we'll be doing some Q&A, so you guys can actually learn from it as well as myself as well. So, Brother Muzzy, you know a lot about Ertugrul compared to myself, who's still an Alp in training.
I wouldn't say I know that much, but the bits and pieces that I pick up, so alhamdulillah.
Sure.
From what I learned from history and everything, alhamdulillah. So I would say I know a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So, guys, I'm going to tell you just quickly about myself, how I came to Ertugrul. Now, Ertugrul is a Turkish series which one of my good friends told me about a good few years ago. And we were at his house and he was talking about it. Guys, you have to watch the show. It's really good. And I thought, yeah, I don't know about Turkish series. But anyway, one day I had some time, switched on Netflix and started watching it. And subhanAllah, that's it. That's when the Ertugrul season just embedded inside me, and I thought, you know what, this is me. This is me, definitely. So, brother, I'm gonna ask you, like, tell us about Ertugrul. What is Ertugrul for those people that don't know? What is the show?
Ertugrul, to be honest, there's not a lot of information people know about Ertugrul. It's only, I think there's majority of historians say it's probably about 7 or pages, or even 2 pages, maybe 2 pages. Basically, Ertugrul, he's the father of Osman. Osman, as we all hear about the Ottoman. Ottoman, basically Osman. He is the father, and you can say maybe the founder of the Ottoman Empire. Well, again, I wouldn't say the founder, but he's the one who started or set up the foundation. He comes from a tribe of the Turkish tribes called the Kai tribe, and basically with only 400 basically people or tent, basically he was challenging and he was trying to look for a place for his people. And they said how he came about in real history, and this is not what we find out from the series we learn. Basically, what happened was they were traveling, as they were like travelers, and while they were traveling, they came into between. They're looking for land and everything. They came between 2 armies fighting, and what happened was they didn't know which side to choose. So they decided to choose one side, and that was the side of the Muslims. That's when they found out the Muslims. So it was the Muslim and the non-Muslim. What happened? So the Muslim, it was the army of the Empire of Rome, the Seljuks. They're called the Seljuks, and led by this Sultan named Alauddin. So he decides to help Alauddin, his name.
Right.
Remember that. The Sultan Alauddin.
Yeah.
That's his name. So the Sultan gives him a piece of land, tells him, okay, this is where you're gonna stay with your family and everything. And that's where he decided to stay there. And basically what the Sultan does, he puts him on the borders between because the Seljuk were fighting on the west and the east, the Byzantine and everything. So Sultan puts him on the Byzantine side, right, to take care. So more like what he used to do, and he invited a lot of other Turkish tribes who came, then they settled there. So the Sultan used them because they were known to be fighters. He used it in more as the guardians, or to protect the borders of the Turkish the Seljuk Empire at that time. So yeah, and from there on, and he went on and he challenged a lot of things. He faced different lives and everything. And from there we learned that his son takes care of everything after that.
Inshallah. So let's talk about the show. So everybody that I've spoken to has watched Ertugrul, right? Somewhat, somewhere, it has had a bit of an impact in their life, right? So I mean, have you had any impact in your own personal life from watching Ertugrul? I know it's just a show, but for those people that haven't watched it, they'll be probably thinking, what the hell are these guys on about? It's just a TV series. But there is quite a lot of elements in there, isn't it? That basically can touch you. How did it
Yes,
affect you? How did it impact you?
I mean, it does. I mean, to be honest, most of us watch movies from TV show from Hollywood, Bollywood, and other places and everything.
Mm.
But I love watching historical movies or documentaries or series which have, and most of the time, as we all know, most of biography movies, there's a lot of fiction in it, and
Sure.
I would say, especially with Ertugrul, there's a lot of fiction in it.
We're going to
and
go into that in a bit. Yeah.
yeah, they dramatize and everything. But what you learn is like you see a different side of what Muslim are being portrayed in the media.
Right.
That's what you see. You see a different side, and mostly me, when I started watching it, is a clip. I was sent somebody sent me the clip. It was choosing between this, thinking, what is this thing, and then when I watched it and everything, most of the things they were teaching is things that I know, and alhamdulillah I abide by it and everything. But then you see reminders, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind, verily the reminder benefits the believer. So a reminder, it can come from anything, from anybody. It doesn't have to be a religious person. So when I'm thinking, wow, the way they're making it, the people are humble, people they teaching that respect, how to, it's like they're going to the culture and moral of Islam. That's how they were bringing up their children, they're bringing their families, and it's like a lot of things. It's like subhanallah, it touched me. Like, wow, this is what I want to see. It's like family values, it's like they sit together, they eat as a family, and they don't start eating until the leader or the father or whatever who's in charge of the tent sits down in the middle. And still they don't start. What they start, they're saying breaking bread together. I always used to hear this quote, breaking bread together. What does it mean? When I was young, you're thinking you take the bread, you break it up.
Yeah.
But literally, when you see Ertugrul or Osman or the lead of the tent, whatever, takes the bread, cuts it into two pieces, gives it one into this side and another into this side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what it is. You sit down together, you break bread together. That's what it was literal, it wasn't even like, that's what it is, bringing the value together, families, you talk about things. And especially now, it's like we have all these technologies, everybody on their phone and everything, but this is where they're sitting together, So it taught me a lot of things. And I will tell you, it's not just me. It taught a lot of people. I've met people who are not even Muslim.
Yes.
People who are not, who I've met or spoken to online. And then I've realized they started watching. They actually told me, we never knew this about Islam. We actually seen the Muslim as the good guys. We never learn Muslim do this. I've met people who converted to Islam because of watching this show. I've met people who started referring to Muslims in a positive way. And I've seen, and most of you have heard, I think it's either Bolivia or some certain South American countries. Their presidents even they were hooked on these shows. They even went and visited the place where they do the studios and everything. And I remember even in their parliament, they started speaking about these kind of things. So you had a positive impact. I wouldn't just say just me, but believe me, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And as usual, you do have critics and haters and everything. It could be from Muslim and non-Muslim as well. So
they're probably part of the Sadatin Copex, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. So who knows? To me, if anything, no matter how small or whatever, if it helps the Muslims in any way, good, like basically in a good way, I think that's a win. Good is a good thing to me.
Absolutely, brother Muzzy. You know, I share the same experience when I speak to people. People have either watched it before me or after me. Some of the people have claimed that, you know what, I've actually started praying more, subhanallah, you know, because it touches a lot on Islamic kind of beliefs, you know, especially when they talk a lot about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, how he used to do certain things, and how, you know, it touched a lot about history. And they all kind of, you know, they talk about the Quran, especially like patience and, you know, sabr, and
Yeah,
after hardship becomes ease, you know, things like
yeah,
that. And it kind of touched me a lot because some of us are probably going through the same stuff at that time, you know, especially when it comes to treachery between family, you know,
yeah,
brothers, misunderstanding and stuff like that. So, you know, some people it touches them in a personal note. So yeah, I've met a lot of people that would be like, it's changed my life. It's changed my life, you know. And indeed, it has impacted in my own life. And you probably see the room behind me. You know, is all dedicated to the Kai. Subhanallah. So yeah, guys, you know, seriously, if you haven't watched it, I must say you have to watch it. You know, it's one of those things you watch the first maybe one or two episodes, it's a little bit slow, but once the action starts and you see it
yeah.
happening.
Definitely. That I would say. The first episode it was good. I would say,
Mhm,
but then after that it started to get slow. But then it changes. One on. I just want to add it up on what you said. You
mhm,
know, as I said, everything as Muslim we have what to lead us. We have the manual. It's in the
mhm.
Quran and Sunnah. We
Absolutely.
just have to go back. But then sometimes we need that reminder. We need that jump start. We need that somebody to see somebody do something. It's
Mhm,
not that we don't know. As again, it come back to a reminder. And as you mentioned, sometimes you're going through hard time and everything, and and
mhm,
then it hits you like you see. Then it's like, what am I gonna do? Okay, go back to Quran. Have that,
mhm,
that sabr, as you said. From watching the show, you can. I mean, there was time. I mean, as I said, we know everything, right?
mhm,
I was going through a lot. I was going through. I've seen people going through difficulties, and then I've seen a character or somebody they going through hard time. They
mhm,
go, then the sheikh or whatever tells them, have that sabr, and then suddenly opens up, and you're thinking, hey, he didn't say something out of his head. Islam tells you,
yeah.
and also from one thing, I want to also make it clear, from the show. MashaAllah, one of the ways they do da'wah is
Mhm,
also part of da'wah, they do it.
absolutely.
They bring up a hadith, they bring up the Quran verses.
وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا هو الذي أنزل السكينة في قلوب المؤمنين ليزدادوا إيمانا مع إيمانهم ولله جنود السماوات والأرض وكان الله عليما حكيما.
They bring Islamic stories as reminders.
Sure.
But what they do it, the way they do it, like they are telling the Alps or the people sitting down, whether it's the sheikh or the leader, or telling the children stories. But actually, in reality, what they're doing, they are reminding the viewers,
Yes.
this is what happened, this is what went on, this is what happened. Because a lot of currently a lot of Muslims, especially in Turkey with the secularists and everything,
Mhm,
and non-Muslim, they don't know these things,
mhm,
right? So it reminds them, this is what the Muslim done, this is what. And they, most of the time, they even bring the references. They say in the
mm,
Quran verses this and this and this, you have this, you have certain hadith, they tell you about a story. Okay, maybe some of the stories you can say is weak narrations, or the
sure.
hadith is weak and everything, but a good reminder is a good reminder. It benefits
Absolutely.
you. That's what I
Absolutely.
say.
You learn a lot from it. I mean, there's things in there
Definitely.
that I didn't know and I learned from it, subhanAllah, and it's all proper on point.
Yeah.
So let's talk about characters. Okay, we all know who Ertugrul is, right? He's the main character of the show, he's a hero. Who would you say, apart from Ertugrul, stood out for you in terms of hero or heroes in some cases in the first season of Ertugrul?
When, what do you mean when as a hero?
Hero. Okay, so apart from Ertugrul,
Uh-huh.
who would you say is next your favorite and why?
That's
Bit
a
of a
hard
tough
one.
one. Bit of
It
a tough.
is tough. It's plenty, to be honest.
Mm,
There's Bamsi Beric, because we all know our fans' favorite.
yeah.
You have Turgut Alp. You know, these I mean, I would say between Bamsi and Turgut.
Bamsi and Turgut.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Turgut. Yeah, I will get to there. I mean, we're gonna get it.
Sure.
We are gonna get to it after, but I would say Turgut probably,
Turgut. Okay. Yes.
especially with what he went through in the again, it's
Yes.
fiction. How
Mhm.
he played out, like what kind of person, what he went through, and
Yeah.
his loyalty and all that. Yeah, I'll say Bamsi. I mean
Absolutely.
Turgut.
Turgut. Yeah. Okay. So here's an interesting one, right? So, who is your favorite villain and why?
Oh, now this is very hard again. I'm gonna give two answers again.
Sure.
I would say Sadatin Kopek,
Mm.
with the fact that I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but Kopek means dog in Turkish. Kopek means dog. He played his character, the guy who played the character, like exactly when I read the history. I mean, there was not enough, but a summary of exactly what he done. Like he was in control. The
Mm.
way he maneuvered, he controlled the government from
Yeah.
top to bottom, and how he took over, how he was smart.
Mhm.
He wasn't your typical villain who was like a fighter, warrior, and everything.
Mhm.
You know, that's what he was. He was very smart. He knew what to get, how to get into your, what you say, how to get into your, you know, messy up. But like literally, once you, like, you know, he was there from certain time, but he had full control.
Yeah.
And another one, I would say Noyan. You know, the man, he was totally different from
Mhm.
Kopek.
Yeah.
Literally, what you say, two sides from the same coin. You have the coin being the villain. You
Mhm.
have Kopek, smart,
Mhm.
but you know, not a warrior type, no honor, no
Mhm.
respect, doesn't care, you know, doesn't follow the morals, you know, it's all about him. And then you have the other villain who had honor, you know,
Mm.
he had his own morals, he fought for something, not
Mhm.
for with the Kopek, he fought for his own selfishness and everything,
Yeah.
or everything he done. With Noyan is like he fought for something he believed in, you know. And I remember one of the, I think it was season 4 or 5, where he had to fight him and Ertuğrul, again spoilers,
Yeah.
those who we do apologize.
It's all right.
I remember he goes to Ertuğrul, in another world we could have been friends, you
Mm.
know, we could have fought
They got
one.
on really well, didn't they? They worked really good in
Yeah,
collaboration.
yeah, to
They
be
understood,
honest,
and I
it's like,
think in at one point they actually ate together. They ate
yeah, yeah,
together. You
yeah,
know?
that's what I'm saying. So we could have been friends. You
Yeah.
know, we could have been. And imagine, that's what I said. Imagine these guys together. You know, it's like wow, they could have done it in the movie. But hey, at the end of the day, it was fiction.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Sadatin Kopek, I mean, he was loyal to his country, wasn't he? I mean, he was for the cause, he was a true soldier for his cause. Unfortunately, he had his own selfish ways of doing it, right? He thought it
he
was
was he was how do I say this? He was considered
control
an
freak, right?
ambitious, an evil
Mm,
man. He was ambitious, right?
mhm.
His only good quality was his devotion to his state,
That's it.
right? Because and he wanted to be the leader.
Mm,
He was, you know, but at the end of the day, he done a lot of things,
yeah.
and but he was devoted to his state, and he wanted to gain power. That's what it was all about him. It wasn't
Mhm,
just money or anything, because remember he was giving out thing, but he needed to be the sultan. He needed to control, and even in real life, after the sultan dies and everything, you know, his sons, he was controlling it. He was the de
mhm.
facto ruler. We can even see in the series, like he had full control.
Yes.
But again, he was devoted to his state. Remember in one of this episode that he threatens Noyan,
Mhm,
like what he will do
hmm.
to him, and then Noyan like was struck back. You know, he had to wait a bit. That's what it was. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And yeah, Noyan, on the other hand, is a bit of a loose cannon, right? You know, he's got a very charismatic character. You know, although he's a very bad guy, he puts Ertugrul for hardship when even when he put his hand against a tree and he put a nail for it. Do you remember that? You
Oh
know,
yeah,
and
that
if
was
that was that was quite hurtful. And but he had this weird way of doing stuff. Even when he ate or he walks around, it's like, you know, he looks like he's on something, right?
he was a it was he was a villain, yes, but it's like the guy was like, you know, you just see villains and this, like, I don't know how to explain the guy. He was a villain that you would want him to be on your side if he was, no, you know, like, you want somebody to take care of the problem, he is the one. You want something to be done, like, he is the one to be, you know, to do it for you. He
Absolutely.
was ruthless and everything.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
couldn't love him, but you couldn't really hate him either at the same time. I don't know.
Definitely. He at the end of the day, you know, also he like his ruthlessness and everything, he became a pain for all the Turkish and especially the Kai tribe.
Yeah.
And if you remember the first, I think he comes on the second season. It's like the way he terrorized them. It's like, wow, you know, this guy must be,
Yeah.
you know, the way they've done it, you know, to going back to history, when the Mongols came, some people thought, you know, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, like this is that in the history, even in Islamic world, the way they're destroying, that's what they thought these guys were, and they played it really good. The way they would just put the whole village, the whole tribe down, bent it down.
Yeah.
It was
Ruthless.
It was really good. Yeah.
So let's talk about the characters. As you mentioned, some of the characters and some of the stories are actually fictional. So can you kind of tell us in terms of his companions? First, let's start with them. Bamsi, Turgut, Doğan, Abdurrahman. Which of them are real and unreal? And if they were real, when did they come about?
Yeah. I'm gonna say all of them together, basically.
Yeah.
First of all, as in every biographies or movies or which are talking about history, you get real characters and non-real characters, like fictional characters, to dramatize it. But what they also have done is like they brought characters who existed in real life but in different time. Some of them before Ertuğrul, like 150 years, 100, you know, like they never met Ertuğrul in real life, and they put them together. And then what they've done also, they put characters who there's a difference of opinion if they were real or not, but majority say they were like a fictional character. Some of them, they were like, you know, folklore. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Like it's a legendary characters in the Turkish history.
Like a myth.
Some of these characters, that's what they've done. You know, they mix them up together and everything, and it's like you have a character who's you know, out of respect, you know, from a Turkish history, from this side and this side. Yeah, they brought them together. They put them in the series. What they've done. Now I'm gonna name a few of them. As we know, Ertuğrul Bey is a real character, but as I said, even though the series didn't go by went by 5 seasons, he never he was a real character. And then you have his brothers, his two brothers, Sungur Tekin and what's the other one's name, Gundodo. Okay, now they were real, but they never played that bigger part in his life, because what happened was because Ertuğrul path was full of fights. The guy, you know, difficulties and everything. But his brothers, they wanted to live quietly, as we also seen in the thing. So they didn't help him that much. So Ertuğrul moved with his tribe again, as we see, even though it was before that. So he moved with his tribe and went to another place. But with his brothers, not much is known about them, Sungur Tekin and Gundodu. And then you have the other brother who is known is Dundar. I'm sure you remember Dundar Bey. Yeah. Dundar Bey followed his brother when he was young. But he supported him and you know, everything. But then life changed. He was a great warrior and everything, but he had difficulties. But because Ertuğrul chose Osman to take over, as we know, and but anyway, as we get into it, Dundar Bey was a real character. You also have Turgut Alp. Turgut Alp was a real character as well, and Turgut Alp, basically, he was a companion of Ertuğrul Ghazi in real history, and he was his friend, and so loyal to him and faithful to him. And after Ertuğrul died, Turgut Alp went on to serve Osman, which we see now, Osman Bey. He went on to serve Osman and also went on to serve Orhan, and this is Osman's son. And also another one is Abdurrahman Ghazi, the same thing, right? He was a real character, and he served Osman, served Orhan, as well as what's his name?
Suleiman Shah.
Ertugrul. Now you have characters like Bamsi Beyrik. Bamsi Beyrik, basically, he's a legendary character. From a lot of people say that he's a legendary character of a Turkish history, and also he's found in many folk tales and all that. And he is known to be very kind-hearted man, very strong, aggressive, as the way they brought him up and everything. Basically, he comes in historical books of I think there's this Turkish book called Dede Korkut, I think. And he's got a lot of this stories and everything. So he comes from there. As Dogan as well. We hear, you know, Banu Çiçek. Remember the lady who married
Who's his wife?
Dogan? Yeah, but in the history, which the folklore history, he marries Bamsi Beyrik. They say that. We also have the famous Sultan
Hatun,
Hatun.
Yeah.
It comes some people say he existed in real life, but it was before they became Muslim. The Turkish became Muslim. She was a princess, and some people say that she's a legendary character as well, like who appeared in the thing. And we also have Salahuddin. Not Salahuddin. Salahuddin's grandkid, the Aleppo. Remember him?
Who's that?
Remember him? The Wazir. The Aleppo, the one who falls in love with Al-Aziz, the Amir. Remember Al-Aziz?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Funny enough, I'm going to tell you something funny, yeah? He looks like the Turkish edition of Mr. Bean.
He's actually a good actor, you know? So he's a great grandson of Salahuddin, or you can say grandson of great Salahuddin Ayyubi.
Wow.
We all know Salahuddin. He's a grandson or great grandson of Salahuddin. I can't remember exactly. And basically, he was. They portrayed him in as somebody who was weak and everything, but he was not. They portrayed him different from what he was.
Right.
And basically, he was guardian appointed by his. Basically, he was controlling the Al-Quds and everything. He tried to control a lot of places. So you have him. And then we also have Ertugrul. Remember him?
Yeah.
Now, Ertugrul is a real character, but he existed at the time before of Ertugrul. He was, I think, it was the time of Alp Arslan and Malik Shah. I think before even Malik Shah. He's one of those people who also conquered, what do you call it, Palestine as well. They say his grave still is also. His grave is in, he was the governor of Jerusalem. They say his grave is still there, mashallah. And you have Muhyiddin ibn Arabi. Muhyiddin ibn Arabi, Sheikh, he's a real character as well. Everybody know him. He's a controversial person. He's a Sufi, mystic, poet, and all that, you know. He was a great mystical Sufi poet. He was a philosopher. He's an Islamic scholar. Some people like him. Some people dislike him. And I don't want to go into that. He wrote a lot of books and all that. But he was, you know, a real character. But, again, never met Ertugrul.
So he came, before him or before Ertugrul?
He came before Ertugrul. He came before Ertugrul.
Wow. So they never actually met. Right.
Yeah. They never met. They never met. Yeah. And then you have, what's his name? Suleiman Shah, of course, the father of Ertugrul. Now, with Suleiman Shah, there is a difference of opinion. Some people say that his name was Suleiman Shah, but some people say his name was Gunduz.
Right.
Gunduz Alp. If you remember, even Ertugrul's son, he named his son after Gunduz. They say his name was after his father. He named it. So it's Gunduz Alp or what do you call it? Yeah, Suleiman Shah. And you also have Halima Sultan. She was Seljuk Empire. She was a princess from the Seljuk Empire, and she was loyal to her husband and dedicated support for her husband. She preferred to live in tents, you know, like that kind of life instead of the palace. And then, as we know, she gave birth to a great Sultan, Othman, like basically Othman or Han and all of that. And then when we have Haima Hatun, you know, the mother of all the Kai tribe. Yeah, she is real as well. She's Thingy's mom. And we also have Sadatin Kopek. Remember him?
Yeah, Kopek.
Sadatin Kopek. He's a real character.
But
Yeah,
was he
he's
at the time of Ertugrul as well?
Yeah, he was. Because remember, Ertugrul was given the thing. But I don't think they met. That's the thing.
Okay.
They didn't met. You know,
Right.
they didn't met with Ertugrul. Yeah, you have Noyan. Noyan, he's a real character, but never met Ertugrul. It was a different. One was from the east, another was from the west.
Wow.
And you have, yeah, I think I've covered most of the ones I can't remember.
Okay, so
That's
let's
what
talk about his in the show, his wives. So you have Halime, and then you have Il Bilge as well. And as we know, obviously Halime passed away. It was a very sad scene, I must say, guys. I'm gonna put a little clip now. Watch the scene, and we'll come back to it.
Gözlerin açıktır. Hadi ses veresin Halime. Halimem. Sen bize yardım et ya Rabbi. Allah'ım sen bize yardım et. Artuk Bey.
Başımız sağ olsun bey.
Okay, so that particular scene, Halima dies. Okay, Halima was his wife, right?
Halime was his wife. Again, as I said, they dramatized it and they changed the. With me personally, I get really upset when I know the history or I read the history, and then somebody makes a movie. I'm like, oh, great, and then they change it. I'm like, why did you have to do that? Ertugrul dies before in real life. Dies before Halima Hatun.
Wow.
Okay, and Halime gives birth to Osman at an old age, but her husband dies before. But what happened? What we see in the series, she dies while what's his name? Osman is a baby while she gives birth, and this was due to the fact I think they said she didn't want to renew her contract, and with what the producers or the owners of the show, what they had a problem with somebody, they just killed them all. But what I think they should have done, even the character of Bill Gay, you know, if when they brought her in, she could have carried on. She had resemblance with she was a bit too short, but she had some resemblance with Halim Hatun. She could have carried on, to be honest. That's what I think. But in real life, Ertugrul only had one wife.
Right.
And that was Halime. And as I said, he died before Halime. You know, so there's no way he would have married two. And Il Bilge as well, some people said she was a real character, but not in Ertugrul life. She was a legendary again, from another time, but I don't know that much. As I said, you know, they that's what they like to do that way anyway.
Okay, so let's talk about places such as the castles and the cities. Now, Muzzy Bey has actually been to these places, right? You've been on a holiday to those places, Sugut and
yes, it's places I like to go visit. I mean, a lot of people visit Turkey with everything. With Turkey, I've seen, subhanallah, it's got a lot of history in Islamic history.
Right.
To the point, some of them goes even at the time of the Sahabas. If you visit Turkey again, just Istanbul, there's over thousands graves of the Sahabas. And this we know when that the Sahaba tried to conquer Constantinople, which is Istanbul, and this is when they go with the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's I've seen, but you can't see more like thousands, but you will, if you go there, you will see a lots of graves. And in terms of Ertugrul, I mean, again, you know, with the Ottoman history itself, there's a lot of mosques like Muhammad al-Fatih, the one who conquered Istanbul. If you, I mean, I've visited some places, but you have places like Sorut, which where, as we know, it becomes their main city in Ertugrul. And that's where he lives, where his tents or his tribe. If you see in the movie, it's not far from in the series. You're watching the series, it's not far from
road,
Saudi. Yeah, it's just literally down the road. But I got the honor to visit the little town. It's beautiful place. I mean, town's nice, quiet.
How far is Sogod from Istanbul?
I would say pretty about 3-4 hours probably. I would
Right.
say 3-4 hours. I mean, you can drive.
Yeah.
And I went to Bursa. I mean, another place a lot of people didn't hear it about. Maybe if you watch the Ertugrul show, you don't hear about Bursa. You get to hear about Sorut and Konya, where the thing. I've actually went to Konya, another beautiful place. There's a lot of religious people there, mashallah, and it's been like that since at the time of the Seljuk. And it was the capital of the Seljuks. Remember the show? You have the Sultan Alauddin.
Yeah, they're all based there.
It's about 200 kilometers, I think, or 200 miles from Istanbul.
Wow.
And no, astaghfirullah, not 200 meters. I was in Alanya as well, so it was 200 miles from there. It's 3-4 hours. But I was there. I stayed there for nearly 2 weeks in Konya. Beautiful place as well, mashallah. A lot of historical stuff. And I went to Inagol, you know, the Inagol Palace. I went to the area where basically what happened, it is, again, spoilers for even people who are watching Osman. Okay,
we're gonna go into the show Osman in the second podcast, inshallah.
People who are watching Osman, you know, if you're watching season 2, 3, 4, you have Aya Nicola who's giving Ertugrul her time, right? Turgut Alp. Again, we're gonna you know how Turgut Alp is the same character, but they just changed the character now. They changed the actor, they made him like, you know, but in real life he's the same character. Turgut Alp is the one who...
Can I just ask you a question just on that? So what you said was the Turgut Alp who's with Osman, right? He's the same character. But then Turgut Alp was the same more or less age era as Ertugrul. So how comes he's so young when he's with Osman?
History, that's what I'm saying. They've changed.
Oh, they've changed it.
They changed things. Remember, I told you there are characters who did not exist at the time of Ertugrul. They never met.
Right.
So, Ertugrul, the great doctor who could have sorted out the pandemic which we had, you know, the coronavirus, he could have sorted out with few herbs.
No jabs needed.
No jabs, no vaccine, none of that. With few herbs, he would have helped the whole world.
That's it.
He existed about 150 years before Ertugrul.
Wow.
So now, the actor who plays Turgut Alp in Ertugrul, he is the one who is meant to carry on, but because he became a big famous actor, he didn't want to play second fiddle to Osman, you know, to the guy who played. He wanted, and this is the same thing with Ertugrul. The guy who played Ertugrul didn't come on Osman. He was played by a different actor. Right. And this because, come on, these are big known actors now. Why would they want to play a supporting actor, right? So that's one. So they didn't renew, they didn't accept it. So
the only person that merged over is Bamsi Bey, right?
Was Bamsi. Bamsi and Selcan Hatun.
Selcan,
All right. So that's what happened. And also you have another character a lot of people don't know. Remember Samsa Alp. There's an Alp who gets killed by Noyan's sister.
Right.
And then we see him in season 2. We see another character, Samsa Chavus, who comes in Osman, right? and then he just disappears out of nowhere. Basically, the actor who plays Shamsa Chavuz was fired from the show. He's
Wow.
I think got terminated. But the thing is, they played a different actor and a different actor who basically different people. And it's actually the same character who helped Ertugrul and went on to help Osman.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So this guy was fired. Basically, he said something about the Uyghur, politics and everything on Twitter and all that. So they fired him for that. So yeah, that's what it is. You have
What about these castles? Like, you mentioned Ertugrul and
Yeah.
some of the other, are they castles still there?
yes, most of the castles are still there. Most of the castles are still there. If you visit them, I wouldn't say all of them, but what Turkey does, it keeps the history.
Right.
One of the thing which people visit Turkey or the Turkey we have is part of tourism is the history. They keep things. They keep. I mean, I went to Inagol. You can see even Turgut Alp's grave. I saw it there and everything. You can see a lot of things. So you have, most of these places are real. Most of these places are real.
They're real.
And even if you read through the history, it was conquered by different people and everything. People who worked under Osman or Ertugrul. Yeah.
Brother Muzzy, would you give us the privilege of sharing that beautiful video of you walking with a sword inside the tent?
There
Beautiful,
you go.
mashallah. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Who's this?" Real life. And we had this little debate: who's the real Bey, right? Are we still having that debate still?
I'm not gonna say nothing.
No. Okay.
Don't
For another
worry.
time, inshallah. For another time.
Another time, inshallah. May Allah, we will go there one day, inshallah. We'll plan.
Inshallah.
A lot of brothers are waiting for me to plan it and everything. And so I just wanna, until things get sorted out and everything, we'll plan like to go as a group.
Yeah.
And we will plan to go from Istanbul to see everything. And then from there, we're gonna go to Bursa, go to basically Bursa for people who go there. That's where Osman makes it his capital.
Right.
Osman dies there, his grave is there, and right next to him is also Orhan. And Sogut is few hours as well. So we will visit a lot of places.
Sure.
SubhanAllah, actually, with one of my, I had 2-3 years ago, I think it was 2 years, just before the pandemic, I planned with my brother and basically two of my brothers, we planned to go to visit Turkey, like all these places. And literally, I think a week before the pandemic, we had our tickets and everything. They canceled all our flights, and I was angry. So it was okay, but maybe inshallah we'll plan soon.
That's when you need Ertugrul, huh? With these herbs and medicines.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great, bro. You've told me so much about your trip, and I'm really eager to go there, inshallah. Like myself as well, the whole pandemic has hindered a lot of things, a lot of holidays, and it was very difficult. But inshallah, now it's quite easy to travel. But obviously with the flights and stuff, they're quite expensive still. So inshallah, may Allah make it easy for us.
Subhanallah, very expensive, very expensive.
Very expensive.
I
So
think from January, they're kind of going down. So maybe, at the end of the day, school time and everything. But if you want to plan to go, school time, and I think a week should be enough. Not even a week, even 5 days should be enough to go visit them places.
Let's do that, bro. My passport's in date and it's ready, so let's do this.
Inshallah, we'll plan one day, inshallah.
One of the things I've seen on YouTube as well, a lot of people do visit these places, and the kind of souvenirs that they bring back, especially the kind of hats that we're wearing, the little souvenirs that you get. I mean, I had to buy these.
You get
kind
to
of
see
things
these
online.
everywhere in Turkey you go. You will see them everywhere in Turkey. Everywhere in the shops and everything, you will see them wherever, whether it's Konya, Alanya, Antalya, Ankara, Istanbul, you see them everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about obviously still based on the history. There's obviously other shows such as the Uyanis Seljuk, there's Pahitat Abdul Hamid. Obviously, they're still related. So the Uyanis Seljuk, when did they come about?
Uyanis Seljuk again. I think it's 150 to 200 years before Ertugrul. Basically, you have the Seljuk Empire. Okay, they were very powerful Islamic empire who control a lot of places. And from the Seljuk Empire, it basically was divided into two empires. You have the Seljuk of Rome and the Seljuk of Anatolia. And if I'm not mistaken, Ertugrul comes from the Seljuk of Anatolia.
Right.
Of Rome, astaghfirullah, yeah, Seljuk of Rome. That's where they come from, and it carries on. But the Seljuk of Anatolia, after that, it dies down. Well, doesn't die down by its thing. But the show, the Great Seljuks, is a beautiful show. Again, that's where you will get to meet a lot of characters who played big roles in the history of Islamic world.
Sure.
And but I don't know if we're touching a bit of you have the characters like Malik Shah Al Parslan. You get to hear. You have a character called Nizam al-Mulk. This is one of the great characters I really love. He was the de facto ruler of the Seljuk Empire for 20 years. And you know, we talk about Salahuddin Ayyubi, right? If it wasn't for this guy 200 years or 100 years before, there would have been no Salahuddin. There's other characters called Nuruddin, Zinki, Imaduddin. They would have never been if it wasn't for this guy.
Wow.
Basically, you know, you have the thing, set up the foundation and then let it grow. It will make changes. Normally we say, oh, I'm not going to be here in the next 100 years. I'm not going to be here the next 200 years. That you leave Allah to decide that. You set up the foundation. He set up the foundation. He set up Islamic school called Nidamiyah. From these Islamic schools, that's where great scholars, big heroes, you have from the show you get to hear a name called Imam Juwaini. He's one of the big Islamic scholars. You know, Imam Ghazali. Nobody knows. I mean, there was no one, I would say, a Muslim who wouldn't know or hasn't had the name of Imam Ghazali. You know, these were the people who helped shape the Islamic empires, who helped bring people like Salahuddin Ayyubi.
Wow.
So that is a really, I would recommend people to watch that show as well. Then there's another one, another show, as you mentioned. I haven't watched it that much. I haven't watched it yet. There's one, Barbarossa, also played by the guy who plays Ertugrul. These are quite a lot of people might know him, even people who don't watch the show, from what's that? The Pirate of Caribbean. Remember the guy with
Jack Sparrow.
Thing? Yeah, Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow is a real character, not a fictional character. Jack Sparrow was a Muslim who served under Barbarossa. You know, the guy who was supposed to fight is like his arch enemy.
Yeah.
Who they made a baddie in the thing. It was him. He was an Ottoman admiral. He was an Ottoman. He conquered the law of lands.
Oh wow.
So of course they show the Muslims thing. That's he's the real character. Like Jack Sparrow served under him. He converted to Islam and served under this guy.
Wow.
And so it talks about how I haven't started watching it yet, but it's a lot we can. And this is way after Uthman and everything is, you know, it's that's when the Ottoman became powerful now. And then you go down the Paytaht, the last one, that is talks about the end of an era of the Ottoman Empire.
That looks like quite a serious show, right? I mean,
It is.
I've seen
That basically is the last 100 years, if last 200 years, like between just the late 1800s, enter into 1900 until the end of they got rid of the Turkish Islamic Empire, the Ottoman and everything. Basically how they destroyed the Ottoman Empire. Again, we see from Osman, from Ertugrul, even from the Seljuk series up to there, normally the enemies are the enemies within, are the ones who bring down the kingdom, who bring down empire, who bring down the leadership and everything. They destroy it. It's normally that's what we get. And it's also basically, as you said, it kind of looks modern and everything because it was. And it talks, I think that one, it talks about how the Zionism started, how the state of Israel was about to start, how they, you know, he's one, they said it was one of the best and strong sultans of the Ottoman Empire, and the last one. After him, the only one or two basically were there's like a picture, and then that's it. It was destroyed. So I would recommend a lot of people to watch it.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it looks really, really good. It looks really serious. And nice.
Again, it's fictions. Some of the fiction, but what you know, they can't put everything in one thing. But bits and pieces you see, again, if you see it teaches a lot of things. and
Yeah.
things which are happening in real life, some of them.
Sure.
And if we remember a few years back when I think it was last year or 2 years ago, do you know when the French drew the Islamic cartoon, the Charlie Hebdo or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
All that.
Hmm.
No Muslim country ever got up or said something or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But it happened in the time of Payitahta, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And the French did that, and the Sultan sent a letter threatening them, told
Wow.
them basically more like, what, try it.
Mhm.
It was a play they wanted to play and show to show the play. He told them, try doing that and see what's going to happen, and they shut
Mhm.
it down. You
That's
know,
it.
he had no, seriously, he
Mm.
threatened and they shut it down. They used to be, you know, the West used to be scared of the Muslims,
Yeah.
of the Ottoman Empire and everything. But then, hey,
Yeah.
you know, these shows they set it up. You know, the Turkish government
Mhm.
supports the show. Before these shows, there were other shows which were talking. There were historical shows and everything, but they used to portray them in a negative way.
Right.
They used to portray them in a negative way that shows that the Sultan were drinking or this, and you know, the womanizer, and you know, a lot of bad things, doing un-Islamic stuff.
Yeah.
While you see these ones is completely opposite.
Hmm.
And it is said that the government supported basically to tell the Turkish people, look, this is who you were, this is where you come from. To
History.
tell
Yeah.
the Muslim Ummah, wake up.
Hmm.
You know, this is what happened. This is who we were. Let's go back there. And as we know, in a year time, what's going to happen anyway? But Allah knows. But it's just to wake them up.
Absolutely.
You know, it's to wake them up. But you have people now who are not Turkish and everything, but they love Turkey. You know, they love Turkey. They have everything because what? Started watching the show and everything, and they don't love Turkey people, Turkish people, because they're Turkish. They love Turkish people for what they've done for Islam.
The tradition. The tradition.
The
I
tradition
think. I
that
think the
they've done.
show blew up all around the world. Especially look how
Yes.
it took off in Pakistan. You know, they more or less, if you watch the show, when they do the subtitles and also the dubbing, you know, they refer to them as more or less like saints, to be honest. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why when they actually, I've seen it on Instagram, when they see the real life actors behaving in a certain way,
Yeah.
they become really angry. Like Halima Sultan, you know, she's dressed
Yeah,
in a
they
skirt and
actually
stuff
did
like that.
that. They actually did that, and the problem is a lot of people they don't know how to differentiate between the actor and the character.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, the actor, you know, it's sad to say this. Most of the actors they are not okay in Ertugrul and Osman. They are not even practicing Muslim. Most of them anyway. Forget about being practicing. Some of them they say they're not even a Muslim.
The atheist as well.
Bouncy, the guy who played the Bouncy, a lot of people say he's not Muslim. You know, he doesn't have a religion. He's an
Yeah, he's
atheist.
atheist. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So, and you have character, but at the end of the day, this is a job for them.
Yeah.
And maybe who knows, because of this job, Allah will touch, something will touch their heart in the Iman.
Yeah.
You know, they will come back to Islam. And then you have characters who are practicing. The guy who is a great actor, the guy who played Samsha Chavuz, the one who got sacked.
Mm-hmm.
Guy, mashallah, can recite the Quran beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
I will show you some clip if you have a look.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you have Abdurrahman Alp, the guy who played Abdurrahman Alp, another great, mashallah.
Yeah.
He's a great, he's a practicing Muslim as well.
He does some amazing work, Akhi. I mean, some of the charity stuff that I've seen
Yeah.
him do, he meets people from all around the world. He's a very humble brother.
Yeah, very, very humble
You know,
brother.
guys, if you are watching this before the 3rd of December, there is an evening that you spend with Abdurrahman Ghazi up at, I believe it's the London Muslim Centre. We're going to it as well. So make sure you book your tickets. I'll put the link down below for you guys. So definitely hope to see you there. But this brother, yeah, mashallah, lives on the kind of role that he plays.
Even the way he plays his character, the character was like loyal. You know, I mean, from the first season, first episode, the way he used to, what he went through, he got beaten up, he got put in a coma, I would say. You know, he was like he was them kind of people, do it, and you know, his leader tells him do something and he will do it. Will never question it. And I said it once, it's like if you look at out of all the other Alps, like, you know, famous Alps, his Ertugrul and Osman, they all Turgut Alp, Bamsi, there was a time where they disobeyed the Bey, the leader.
Yeah.
But Abdurrahman never did that.
Yeah.
Never did that in the show. You can see it's like, wow, this is what you need as a follower, he's always there. But hey, may Allah make them, if people
Absolutely.
watching them, they're gonna come to Islam or they have a soft spot for Islam. May Allah make it khair.
Absolutely. Do you know, at work I've got this in my laptop, I've got the wallpaper to Ertugrul, and one of the colleagues said, "What is that? What is that? What's that show?" And I had to kind of describe it in a way like, see, when you watch Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not
Yeah.
promoting Game of Thrones in any way, but it's like the halal version of Game of Thrones, but even much better, right?
And that's the reason
Mhm.
I watched it.
Mhm.
Because I also know people telling me I watch Game of Thrones because I normally like them kind of movies like Lord of the Rings and everything.
Mhm.
People are telling me watch Game of Thrones, and when I watch it, okay, it's fiction. All right, it's okay. But then I did, alhamdulillah, I never watched it, never seen an episode. But then you see clips and you hear story, it's some disgusting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please, if you haven't watched the Game of Thrones, don't watch it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear about disgusting stuff and everything, storylines like incest and everything, astaghfirullah.
Mhm.
So when and then I had a clip of Ertuğrul sent it to me, and I'm thinking, oh, this, and then so I was reading about it. It says Islamic version of Game of Thrones, a halal way. I'm like, hey, let me see, and then I'm telling you,
That's it.
I remember when I started watching it. I watched season 1, and I went and watched season 2. When I watched season 2, I was in Turkey. First I went in a resort and everything, and I would spend the whole day with my laptop, just watching. People are having their fun in the cinema. I'm just watching the whole day. Yeah, and because in Netflix it was in every 45 minutes, so it will always end up in the in the the place is like, it's like it's like, I want to see the next bit. I want to see the next bit.
Cliffhanger.
I'm like, yeah, the
Definitely,
cliffhanger. I'm like, I want to watch it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna watch the next episode. I'm just gonna see what happens here.
Yeah, you want to.
And I put on the next episode, and I'm like, okay, it just carries on.
Yeah.
And when season 2 finished, they didn't have season 3 on Netflix.
Yeah.
I went crazy. I started searching the internet for it. I found it. Then I found season 4. And the worst thing, when season 4 finished and season 5 didn't come, and I got so mad.
There was a bit of gap, wasn't it? There was a bit
Yeah,
gap.
yeah. And the fact that with me personally, I like to watch it on my own time, not waiting for an episode next week. So that's what happened with season 5. It was a pain. So it's I would say I would recommend people to watch it. And also to add on that, I would recommend people to watch another great series, Umar ibn Khattab. Omar, it's called Omar. You'll find it. I love, and I don't know if the brother's gonna put the link there where to find it. Yep. And another one is about Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal as well. Another one as well. Very, very good. You see, all these shows, they're not just fictional. It's what Islam was and what happened, how Islam came about, what we used to do, who we were. The great, what you see, Islam is down here. We were up there. We were controlling the world, we were in charge of everything. We never used to bow down. Now we bow down, astaghfirullah. And I don't mean literally bow down, but that's what it is. May Allah help us.
I mean, we'll get to better days, inshallah. So we're gonna actually move on to something quite entertaining. We're gonna test Brother Muzzy's knowledge on now. Bit of secret for you guys. We have kind of done this Q&A before. Unfortunately, there was a technical difficulty. So, Brother Muzzy, the questions are not the same as you previously had it. So,
no.
Okay, but I've kept it easy. Don't worry. It's not technical ones who was the sound director of Ertugrul, nothing like that. So let's go. So, guys, this is a Q&A, short one for Brother Muzzy. So, what was the first castle Ertugrul and his tribe conquered?
Oh man, pass. I know the guy who's in charge, but I can't remember the castle.
I can't even pronounce it either. It was I'll put the name down below. But yeah, you know the one, yeah? Karachi Kashi Castle, something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
First
yeah,
one, the big one that they conquered. Right. So, second question, Titus. Remember Titus?
yeah.
Titus's brother, who was killed right in the beginning. Do you remember his
Don't
name?
ask me his name, man.
He mentioned it a few times. But
Oh, I
his name
can't.
was Bisol.
I don't remember, man. Why did you get these questions, man? Couldn't you just think about proper questions?
Well, the other ones were like, who was Ertugrul's brother, blah, blah, blah. You know the answers.
Those ones are good.
Okay, right. Haleme Sultan, her brother, what was his name?
A little Amir. Oh, I'm not good with the names, man.
I told you you're not going to
Tell me
have it
about.
easy today. Okay, his name,
Nah, tell me.
yeah, his name was Shehzade Yigit.
Sheikh, yeah, Yigit, yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so bit an easy one for you. Okay, we know
Hopefully.
this beautiful. I'd say beautiful because he did the acting really, really well. I have to say, hats off to him. The name of the bell ringer, the one who's like always like, who's got bent back. The bell ringer he's got disability. He walks with a bent back.
Wait. Gun. Wait.
You know this one.
Zangoj, I think.
Nope.
You're talking about the bad guy, right? Season 5.
Yeah, he's I don't want to give you any hints like that because you're gonna get it.
No, wait. Hold on.
But he does some cooking and stuff in Suud, right? But he does it to spy on Ertugrul,
Yeah, he was the baddie as well, isn't it?
the baddie.
Dragos, wasn't it? Dragos?
Dragos. That's it.
No, he had another name. Zangoj, I think. He had another name.
No,
Dragos was his thingy.
Dragos was the bell ringer.
Was that the name? Dragos.
Dragos. That was him.
No, he had another name. Dragos, it was his evil name, the leader.
Oh, you mean his nice name? I don't know. I can't remember his
Yeah,
name.
that's what
I'll
I
have
was
to find out. That's a question for me actually. I don't know the answer to.
They say I should have asked you that.
Okay, so who was the older brother of Aliyar Bey and Aslan Hatun?
Aliyar Bey. Wasn't he the oldest? No, he was the youngest, wasn't he?
Yeah, they had an older brother.
Oh my God. You ask some hard questions,
Hard
man.
one. Come on, man. You should know him. Give up.
No, wait.
He shot
Aliyar
he shot that arrow in the bazaar and Ertugrul went
Yeah.
knife. Do you remember?
Ural, I think.
Ural. That's it. You got it.
Wasn't it?
Ural Bey, huh?
Yeah. At least
Okay.
I got one.
Yeah, that's fine. You might get this one. The son of Sultan Aladdin that became Sultan afterwards.
Riyadh,
Ghiyasuddin.
Yasuddin, yeah.
Okay, so who was Ghiyasuddin's mum? That snake.
You know, sometimes we don't pay.
Do you know, guys, right, last time the questions were really easy, so I had to pick up some tough ones.
We don't pay attention to non-important characters.
Okay, I'll give you this one then. You wouldn't have known because I wouldn't have known it either. So her name was Mahperi Hatun. She had a bit of a weird name, Mahperi Hatun. Okay, next one. Korkut Bey. You remember Korkut Bey?
Yeah, they say he was a real character as well, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he played a really good character actually. You know, the actor himself. So what was the name of his wife?
Korkut
Bey,
Korkut
his
Bey.
wife. The snake again.
Wait. She was the sister of the baddie as well.
Yeah,
Aytulan.
Aytulun, that's it.
Yeah.
And just to add to that as a bonus, who was the son of Aytulun and Korkut?
Sungartekin? No, Alpertekin.
Turdukin.
Huh? Yeah,
Turdukin.
Alpertekin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's your rapid fire round of questions. The other ones we'll keep it for somebody else who wants to join the show next time round. So those questions will be for you. They're not too hard. And in the next show, we shall touch upon the next series after Ertugrul, which is Osman. I myself, to be honest, I haven't actually finished watching Osman. I think I'm on the last series or episode of season 3, I think, or 4, I believe.
I'm on season 4 as well. So there's season 5 now. So
Yeah,
I'm on season 4, I think episode 7 or 8. I don't know. So I haven't watched
Yeah.
it that much.
it carries on. I mean, I've seen again spoilers for you guys, but probably spoilers for me as well. I've seen trailers of when they're fighting gladiators. You know, they're fighting in Rome or something like that. They've been to.
I don't know.
you
I
know?
haven't seen that, to be honest.
Yeah, they're fighting lions and stuff like.
Yeah. You see, as I said, I don't want to wait and like season 1 with Osman. That's what I've done in season 2. I don't want to wait a week. It's coming or it's not coming. And say, I don't want to do that. So I decided last year not to watch anything.
Mhm.
So I'm just catching up now on my own time. So I'm sure by the time I finish this, season 5 will be finished. So I'll get to watch season
Yeah,
5.
you can do that.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't want
brother.
to.
Well, listen, first and foremost, thank you very much for joining me on this show today. And inshallah, this is one of many we'll be doing. So, guys, again, if you haven't watched Ertugrul, do definitely go and watch it, right? I believe it's still on Netflix. It does come up. And sometimes I am tempted just to watch 1 or 2 episodes and I get hooked onto it. But do watch it. And also for you guys as well, I'll put some links down below. Have a look at it. They should direct you to the shows of Ertugrul and Osman and other shows as well. And Brother Muzzy mentioned some other shows which will be beneficial to you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair for your time, Brother Muzzy. Till next time,
Inshallah.
guys. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.